Hello everyone, today I'm going to be taking a look at a new troop box for the multi-award winning Moonstone by Goblin King Games as we enter the Wyrdwood. Alright, the Wyrdwood Troupe for the Leshavult. Box contains 3 resin figures, Snag, Dranyer and Ruwt, and I pop it open. Inside you get the 3 relevant cards. We shall come back to those in more detail soon. We get a bag of bases. And we get our bag of resins. Now, Ruwt and Snag are dendrites, spirits that are inhabiting flora, within Tauber, which makes them manifest as Treefolks. Is that a way to say it? It's possibly a way to say it. Might not be the right way. We'll come back to it. The resin themselves for Snag there is interesting. Just 2 arms, main body, and then a bit of something to cover up something. Ruwt. Again, smaller little tree folk. Possibly screaming away, possibly not. Again, separate arms and additional bit of shrubbery, which I think possibly goes in the mouth. I shall see when it comes to the build. A little bit of flash on them, but we'll see what they're like when they're washed. And then finally, Dranyer. 2-part build, separate hand here, and then this bimorphic fox/humanoid. Could be in the middle of transitioning from one to the other. Who knows? First appeared in the Eric storyline, and Dranyer is a manifestation of a deity, trickster god, goddess, what have you. Right, let's get them cleaned up and then we can get a closer look. Alright, so the Wyrdwood built, simple enough builds. Start with Ruwt here, just the arms and then lower jaw to go in. So as far as dendrites go, Ruwt likes jumping around, flitting from body, if that's what you want to call it, from tree to tree as they float down the mighty rivers of Tauber, the larch, the Scots pine, the mighty oak, all of these things and more, allowing it to experience various treeage and all the things that go with it. Game-wise, more a arcane support character than a combat character. Melee of 2 with a 1-inch range, not great. Arcane of 4, good, solid. Evade of 0, I'll live with it. Then its abilities. So, Wood Spirit, they can jog over wooded patches, and friendly tree folk within 12 inches ignore wooded patches and other friendly tree folk for determining cover when using arcane abilities. That's amazing. Oh, I feel bad for having that. We are Ruwt. Each time this character would be slain, it may instead drop any moonstones as if it were slain, and then reduce its or restore half its health, rounding up, and be placed within a wooded patch created earlier in this game within 12 inches. Then remove the wooded patch. So definitely want to have wooded patches on the table, and always make sure that they're cycled about. New growth. When you use an arcane ability, Ruwt may suffer 3 wounds instead of paying the energy cost. If this reduces it to 0 wounds, the arcane ability is cancelled, so you can't kill Ruwt with it. But once a turn, you can suffer some damage to get a big cast off if needed. And then speaking of, verdant growth. Place a 50mm diameter wooded patch within 3x inches and line of sight on open ground. It remains in place throughout the game. You only have a maximum of 3. If you place another, you must lift 1. Obviously, if you've got a chance to regrow root, you're going to be lifting them anyway. And then coupled with some of the other treefolk that are out and about, those wooded patches can be very devastating. So being able to cycle them forward and keep them within range of your opponent is great. 3 energy and 7 health. Again, alright. Signature move on a rising attack, and that is encroaching roots. So it's an upgrade for rising. There's your damage dealt, but in the end step, if the enemy suffered 1 or more wounds during this action, it cannot take a jog until the end of turn. So some characters out there who are a bit nimble and a bit flighty on it, this is a great way of tying them down for a turn, or alternatively stopping them pursuing somebody who might be running off with an armful of moonstones. So very good support character. Next up we have Snag. Snag's interesting for 2 reasons. One, Snag is a dead silver birch, I believe. As you can see, it's got the classic zombie pose, even though it's an animated dead tree. So, sap, maybe? Sap. Anyway, some really nice detail on him. Obviously, there is the gnome on the back. Poor big-headed gnome, dead as a dead thing, carrying a sign. I'm sure that will leave a wealth of room for painters to add something to it. Build was very simple. You just have the arms going on. This extra bit of woodage from earlier actually fits in to form the lower jaw and fits behind this piece. There's only one way it can fit in, as long as these teeth on the bark are orientated upwards. It took me looking at the box art to work out it must be up there somewhere, but the box art shows it from this position. So there was a bit of placing and then moving back and forth and checking. But the fit is very snug, and once you see it, it fits along a line perfectly and into a split in the chest. So easily done. The body, this leg, that is a very thin join point. Now mine's fine. He's not glued down completely yet because I'll probably want to do some sort of scenic basing, but that would be my only cause for concern when you're cleaning and building it. Putting too much pressure on this limb, the front leg, may cause a snap, and nobody wants a snap. But overall, lovely figure. Interesting for 2 reasons. Like I said, one was the fact it's a zombie treefolk, and secondly, this is the second shade model. So we've already seen Jobby, the resurrecting goblin, and now we have Snag. So since the shades popped up in Eric's little narrative, it's been interesting to see more of these starting to crop up in game as well. Treefolk Spirit with a melee of 4 and a 2-inch range. Arcane of 3 and evade of +2. So again, fairly solid. This time more melee heavy. Easily hit from distance though with arcane abilities. Woodfoot, can jog over wooded patches. And splintered branches, if you deal impact or piercing damage in melee, this damage is increased by 1. Good. We like that. Accursed. Now, this is filthy / beautiful, depending on whether you're on the receiving end. When an enemy target this character with an arcane action, you may reveal a green card from your hand before any cards are played. After resolving the current action, the enemy model suffers X -1 wounds, where X is the value of the revealed card. So, that's good. If you've got a 2 or 3 in your hand, you can do automatic damage even if you happen to fail the bluff guessing in the arcane. Even if they get that arcane ability off, they can still suffer for their problems. Vengeance. If a friendly character is slain or reduced to 0 wounds the first time this model uses an arcane ability that turn, it doesn't need to spend energy. Again, beautiful. Really leaning into the undead side of things and the curse. Speaking of, for 3 energy with an 8-inch range, the Deadwood Curse. On a green, the target gains Deadwood Cursed. During the discard step, that character and all friendly models within 3 inches suffer 1 wound. That continues until the character is slain every turn in the discard step. At that point, that character is isolated from the rest of their troop because nobody's going to want to be within 3, which for a support character or somebody who's relatively weak who normally needs friends close by to get the best out of them, can force them out of position very easily. On a catastrophe, Snag suffers 2 wounds. What a shame. And all other models within 3 inches suffer 2 wounds. Now, that's interesting because it doesn't say friendly. So, if Snag messes up, all models within 3 inches suffer 2 wounds. 3 energy, but this time they have a mighty 11 health, so really robust. Signature move is a upgrade to rising attack. Will deal some modicum of damage, and it is magical, so getting past lovely armors. In the end step, if the enemy suffered no wounds during this round of melee, the enemy model gains Deadwood Cursed. Exactly the same as the front. During the discard step, this character and all friendly models within 3 inches suffer 1 wound until this character is slain. So now your opponent has to think, do I really want to fight a melee? And if I fight a melee, I'll be better off letting the attack go through and taking damage, because no damage means curse, and curse means a bad time for everyone. Snag, I think I love you. Speaking of love, Dranyer, the trickster deity from Tauber, who I like to believe was fully on side with bringing Eric into Leshavult. I know it kind of seemed in the storyline like she didn't really care who he picked, but I'm 100% on board with this. Really nice figure. Very simple build. The arm goes into a notch across the front of the chest, just standing there. And sort of that transformation from amber-eyed lady into fox. It's just absolutely beautiful. Really, really nice model once again. They do some cracking work. Now, our little trickster deity. Melee of 3 on a 1-inch range. That's not terrible. I mean, it's not great, but we've all seen worse. Evade of -1 and an arcane of 4. Very good. Once again, a trickster. When this model successfully bluffs, after resolving the effect, you may reveal the bluff and gain 3 energy once per turn. How often do you want to go, yeah, I bluffed you, but you don't, because you never know what's coming next. This time you can, and make your opponent pay. Shifter. They may jog over water features and wooded patches both. That's good. Proper nimble trickster god, flitting through forests and lakes alike. Mimic, once per turn, for 0 cost on a green or a pink. On a green, you can choose another model within 8 inches, and Dranyer gains one of the keywords until the end of turn. So very handy for a lot of synergies out there, as you would expect. Pink is a attack. The character or model within 4 inches shares a keyword with this character. Or sorry, not attack, it's a support. Gains +1 energy, and on a catastrophe, this character suffers 2 wounds. So you can spam out some additional energy to people in your troop. So the Mimic's handy to have for 0 cost. Cunning for the low price of 3, which, bear in mind, could be free if you've bluffed on your Mimic. You know, that blue card. I think you'll find it was actually a pink. So on a blue, you can restore X+1 wounds. If you share a keyword with the character, move it X-1 inches. So obviously backfills into the Mimic. And then on a pink, the target suffers X magical damage. And then if the target shares a keyword with the character, move it X inches. On a catastrophe, you suffer 3 wounds. So we can see how this is going. There's an awful lot of manipulation happening. The signature move is Duplicity. On a low guard, you can deal 0 damage. However, if there's a model within 4 inches that did not participate in this round of melee and shares a keyword with the character, reduce damage to 0. And in the end step, swap positions of a model within 4 inches that did not participate in this round of melee and shares a keyword with this character. So that's when Dranyer wasn't really there at all. It was in fact Eric the Enlightened, or, you know, whoever it happens to be coming out of the darkness, a cultist of Leshavult. Who knows? Really interesting character. As always, all 3 of them are very interesting. A lot of synergies between them. Just in case you're wondering, Dranyer is 33mm to eye level. Our poor zombified dendrite is around 52mm tall, or 46 to empty knothole. I don't know if they count as eyes or not. And then little root bent over, so it's not really fair to measure, but around 33mm high and about 24 to eye level. But like I say, root scampering forward, so it's not really here to judge. But there we have it, the Wyrdwood Troupe. So there we have it, folks. The new tree spirit, Treefolk dendrite troop for the Leshavult, the best faction in Moonstone. This is actually going on pre-order tomorrow. So this is a sneak peek for you Moonstone fans out there. If you fancy getting your hands on this box, then check out their Goblin King Games page tomorrow, and also keep an eye out. There's some limited edition and sneaky little bits and pieces that are also going to be up for a limited time as well, starting from tomorrow, and they tend to go very quickly. So let me know what you think of the Leshavult and their dendritic allies below. Until next time, bye-bye.
Go ahead and check out our other content on screen now. And while you're at it, why not hit subscribe and remember to ding our dong. Go on, you know you want to click it. Go on.